Yeah, very good evening. I'm having some lively guests here. Thank you so much, guys, for waiting for us and tuning in on the evening farm drive with me, Jackie Mo. Meshinda Ajay, how have you been? How's the weather wherever you are? We are having climate talks in Gabon. Ni Gabon ama ni Gabon?
Gabon.
Faransa wanasema Gabon.
Libreville.
We're having climate talks, and there's going to be an interesting conversation. Actually, it's currently going on by IFAD, and we'll be trying to link up with some of the people in Gabon to find out exactly what the talks are aimed at. Today is the second last day, so we are waiting to see. Not tunaenda COP27. Tunaenda tuko kwa hiyo journey. We'll be going to Egypt by God's grace. But karibuni sana. Today we want to talk about technical transformation in agriculture. No, mchezo. Unajua tutatupa mawe hapa katika kwa studio. Today we want to talk about technical transformation in agriculture, look at the various innovations that are coming up, and even as we talk about climate change, we want to find out how technology is impacting all this talk about climate change, and can technology really assist or even help in these talks. So today's agriculture routinely uses sophisticated technologies such as robots, temperature and moisture sensors, aerial images, and GPS technology. And I don't know. No, what kind of technology do you have on your farm?
Me, let me tell you something. Hata mimi bado vile umesema hivi tu. But for me, I have a few. Like I have drone. I have a drone, yes. I have normal water irrigation. There's some friends who said that they want to donate a timer, irrigation timer. Anyway,
but okay, we will continue. We are with one Dr. Robert Mwakio. How have you been?
What are you going to introduce?
Mnajulikana. Mnahitaji introduction kweli. Mnahitaji introduction. Basi Robert Mwakio, just tell us for the sake of our new audiences.
Okay, Robert Mwakio.
Move closer to the mic.
Robert Mwakio. Actually, I major in sustainability in agriculture, basically urban. I major in urban sustainability, anything urban, especially maneno ya food sustainability. Climate sustainability is what we can achieve in future. That's why we're part of sustainable cities, sustainable agriculture. We are looking at future sustainable, like ukipewa ugali, can it sustain you till morning? Is what sustainable is, yeah? So anything sustainable, that is where technology comes in, because technology is what's going to help us sustain, especially when we look at things changing. Things are definitely changing. And I remember my professor told me, I think back in college when I was doing my master's, every 10,000 years the earth goes through a climatic change, depending on whether right now we are talking about climate, global warming or not, but after every 10,000 years there's always that shift, that climatic shift.
I think we're in the 10,000 years. Have you noticed the nights are shorter than the days?
Yeah, probably. That's when we remember the ice age. Remember, so we never know, but they predict maybe a couple of thousands of years to come, we might have another ice age.
What?
The earth has to rejuvenate itself. So, but we are looking at technology. Now technology is always going to help us maybe curb global change, global warming. Because by the way, we had a very tight with some of my students from the US. We had a very tight argument, and I keep insisting. We for now we don't call it global warming.
Yes.
We call it global climate change. That's what most of my conversation I talk about global climate change because
what's the difference?
Global warming is when which is there. Global warming is there because the Earth, like we've experienced in the past 1 decade, we're experiencing an increase in global temperature by 1 degree. And like I said in the morning, they are talking about, I think, by 2050, if we are not careful about, if we don't check the carbon emissions, we can add another 0.5 degrees into the atmosphere. 0.5 degrees is enough to cause havoc in terms of climate. So we have to be very careful. That's why you're seeing all these conventions coming through. You know, every time we have a problem, it's something that problem with us human beings. You can remember wakati wa Noah. You know, we were told. We were told. Noah told us. And he said we'll be experiencing it's tsunamis. Yeah.
Yes.
And like I think 3 years ago,
And you got to share.
remember there was a typhoon in Africa.
Yes.
It's very hard to have
Yes.
typhoons in Africa.
Exactly. Yes.
So those are things that really, if I was one of the speakers there in the convention, I could talk about it because it's not something to joke about.
Yes, because even the tsunami, I was in Mombasa and we could not even cross the ferry.
Yeah.
Because it lifted the water to, in fact, the locals there say that they actually felt it as far as Malindi. It was happening in Likoni.
What?
Yes.
They were that
It's
strong.
Bad, yeah. It's that bad.
But for me, I keep on asking myself, why do we go to these conferences and we are not sure of the implementation of this?
The first thing is intention. What are your intentions if you go there? Most people who go there,
Move closer to the mic.
most people go there, especially government funded. You know, we need people who, especially like civil organizations or people who are serious about global warming. Or we take people who are actually experiencing global warming or global change firsthand. Those are people who need to be there to tell us what is happening. But if you take somebody from the office, take him there, just get his per diem and
They come back and life continues as usual.
But what I ask is, we have two types of climate action related activities. We have the hype and then we have the reality. Because agriculture is the major contributor to carbon emissions. And for a long time we've been talking about, as I agree with what you're saying, global warming. But global warming, we were told some time back, I remember I was doing Science Congress, and my talk was about greenhouse gases. So when you talk about global warming, you're talking about the ozone layer is getting finished. You know, those days we've been told the ozone layer is like...
we used to have sleepless nights.
Yes. I remember I had a whole project about this.
We're talking about in the next 10 years,
Yes.
we'll have Earth.
Yeah, and there's a blanket in between Earth and this, and it will be finished. Why is this discussion? Why are these discussions being done in the wrong way? Because why I say the wrong way is because, as we're discussing in the morning, carbon emissions are what is causing the climate to be affected to the highest extent.
Yeah.
But there's no sensitization, only in some areas. Like I was talking to a friend in California who was saying that they're actually being told to remove the grass on their lawns. No more watering, because they're facing drought in California. They don't have enough water.
What?
Yes. But the other thing is that, you know, me, I'm a defender of communities. Africa is suffering the most. Africa is suffering the most. Yes, these droughts, these floods are all over. I saw in Germany and I didn't believe. The floods hit a certain town that it actually removed 6 meters of roads and pulled it back to the rivers. They were able to start rebuilding in less than, I think, 3 hours. 3 days. In Africa, that happens, you forget about that town.
You see, and funny enough, but then the company I work for is a German company, and remember they were telling me what happened. There
Yes.
were about 4 people who died.
Imagine
that very bad
It was
flood.
messy.
So can you imagine if it was in Africa?
Don't even think about it.
It was very bad. It was dangerously, you know.
But you guys are talking of these foreign countries. I don't know if you've seen a picture of Nyandarua. There's some ice in Nyandarua. Have you seen that picture? Was
Yes,
it ice or
yes.
what was it?
I don't think that
to you, that is normal.
That's not a
That's normal.
Yes, it's not an effect of global warming, because what I'm thinking.
But it's climate change.
But see what
We've
is
never
climate
seen
change?
ice.
But see what is climate change?
Hmm?
Yeah, so we have the issue of the temperatures going up,
Mhm.
average temperatures,
Mhm.
meaning the average temperature is caused by the greenhouse effect.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that
Mhm.
now we're looking
But
at the
that,
average.
when you talk about greenhouse effect, you know, let me just think like Nini, somebody from Western Kenya. You tell me greenhouse gases.
Yeah,
What I will first think about
Is the greenhouse.
greenhouses.
yeah.
And that's why, for me, where I stand, and I was saying I'm a defender of communities, we have to break this jargon. We have to break down this jargon, because farmers get surprised. I was talking to another farmer and I was telling them about global warming and greenhouse gases, and then they're like, how come these greenhouses don't have a chimney then?
Because the greenhouse is an effect. We are looking at the effect.
Mhm.
But the greenhouse gases, we are basically talking about the gases, the chlorofluorocarbons.
Yes, the CFCs, yes.
Yeah, which are very dangerous. So it used to be bad back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Because even fridges were being, you told me if you open a fridge.
Yeah, because of the chlorofluorocarbons. Yeah.
Yes.
And funny enough, is most companies and most industrialized nations actually ban some of those gases emission, though they did not ban carbon as a factor of the biggest contributor to greenhouse effect in the atmosphere. So at the end of the day, we're still experiencing that global warming,
Mhm.
the issue on global warming. So it's something that we need to actually be worried about, especially when countries like India actually are still going deeper into coal,
Yes, yes.
and they said they are not stopping anytime soon.
But is it that we are fearing what should not be feared? Because even the Americas has coal. Europe has coal. Is it that is there something else? So that's now where my question comes in. Is there something else that Africa can do to cut down on the carbon emissions, but also replace it with something? And that's why I keep on asking. We're talking about, we see a lot of money, £4 million. There's a company that was actually given $4 million, yes, to actually train farmers on crops that they can grow, so that the farmers, as they do that, they're repairing.
Mhm.
You get scenario? It's
Yeah.
like, for example, paying those small birds. You know those small birds that go on top of hippos or
eat.
crocodiles to
Yeah, to eat the
It's
teeth.
like paying them to do that.
Yeah.
But these farmers are not getting that money. They're not seeing it.
It's happening everywhere, I think.
Actually, the Southern Hub. We had a meeting with Alliance for Science, and they kept on saying that there is this money that is being given by nations,
Mm.
but this money is not reaching local farmers. So is it that these organizations that are coming up and talking about carbon credits and stuff like that, number one, is it a reality? Because if it is indeed a reality, how come the people who are adversely affected, because farmers are affected, and
Yeah.
yet, how can they benefit? Because we hear there's maize drying in Western Kenya on the farms because of less
Drought.
rainfall.
Mm.
Why is it that, and I think that's a discussion that we can have. Why is it that farmers are not being sensitized to do the right thing first?
You see, that's the biggest challenge we have in Africa, because the targeted person, so the targeted affected person, does not receive let's say even relief. Yeah.
Mm.
For example, you say it releases a lot of money.
Yes.
For relief.
Yes.
But whatever comes down to the person affected is quite small. That is why you saw the United States decided during COVID time to help people directly at the bottom. So it's a matter of also policy and the policy makers, and also how the chain of command also.
Mm.
So That is why they always, like our friend says, talk about
Bottom up.
or approach is very, very, very important. How you approach such issues. Otherwise, we'll continue.
Everybody could use the who's friend. Again, to the
Disclaimer.
Our friend, huh?
Disclaimer.
Yeah. So basically, it's how how we approach, yeah. And that's that kind of approach worked for several NGOs, and most of our approach was bottom up. Start from the ground, but you realize when you reach at the middle there, the people on the top will try to
Bring you down.
But no, that brings me to this question, and it's not about the approach that we take. But for me, why is it that we are failing, or is it that we are commercializing the things that we are supposed to be solving? Why I'm asking that is because we saw the COVID jab, and we saw that it was dangerous. COVID was dangerous. Technically. I mean, we had to the world came to
was fatal, not
yes.
even.
I saw this guy traveling, and I was like, so are we amplifying what we should not be amplifying? Because one thing is we have not yet got a solution to COVID. It came and it went. And was the solution the COVID vaccine? Nobody told us what it is. Do you know there's some people who don't know what COVID was? And it was really sad because people missed funerals of their very close friends. What I'm asking, and I want to come back to the topic, is technology.
Yes.
Are we exactly, let me bring that topic now. Daktari, do you think we are hyping technology in agriculture?
Hyping is a very I really want to use because hyping is a very sensitive word. Hyping is very sensitive as per se, yeah? Which word? I'm trying to look at a word that I can use, but still, okay. I can say technology is inevitable. It's inevitable. You see, even it's part of evolution. That's why they're even saying that the Homo sapiens is actually evolving into a different.
We are still evolving.
Yeah, because the
I
Homo sapiens.
don't believe in the evolution.
So we have that. We evolve, and that is what made human beings, Homo sapiens, be top of the chain.
But
Let me finish.
now that's where technology comes in.
Yes.
We have to find ways of surviving, and we will use whatever means possible. And most of the time, we use whatever natural resources we've been given by the environment to survive with. We had our professor back in university in Maseno told us why do you think I'm not being racist or anything, but why do you think the people in the northern hemisphere, the white-skinned people, are more advanced than people in the southern hemisphere? Because we have us in the southern hemisphere, we have everything. Yeah? The sun is there. Yeah.
The soils.
We have we now our brains are not functioning. The people in the north.
Really?
I'm talking about somebody who was teaching us evolution. The people in the north who moved away from the south went and found a very harsh climate. They knew how to survive during winter, to store food, to do that. That was technology. Yeah, just by knowing to kill a deer, you put it under somewhere and you come for it. This is a gradual evolution of technology. Yeah? Now we are going into a situation now we are trying to tackle the issues that we are facing right now, like the unpredictable rain patterns. We used to know that April will have rain, October will have rains. Now things are becoming different. When we sit down and wait for God to take us to heaven, we have to find means and ways of trying to cover these situations that come. So why I'm saying we are not overrating, that was the word, we are not overrating technology. Yeah? What we are trying to do is to assimilate it, to make it part of our evolution, or to make it part of the inevitable, because we never know the future. So we'll have to use technology. But what you're trying to say is the hyping, yeah, like having drones, having technology, too much
yes,
robots and
you see,
whatnot.
let me tell you, I used to farm in one of my farms in Kamolo, and we're farming next to the river. Okay, and I did not.
The
see-
government knows that.
No, they do that. They do that.
Nobody-
If you go to those farms, by then they have put generators that actually
Yeah, they
pull
pull
water from
but
the
they're
river.
not allowed to farm just next to the farm.
Yes, but you see, this was the thing. I did not see the importance of drip irrigation. I still don't see the importance of drip irrigation because look at the farms even abroad. I mean, they don't use drip irrigation, by the way.
Really?
I've been farms in California.
What are you using in your farm there?
So in Garatech, I'm using drip irrigation, but it is more of a convenience thing.
So without that drip irrigation, wait for the rain and.
Not for the wait for the rain.
They can use a pipe.
Tanzania are not using drip irrigation, but they're bringing our food here. Zambia is not using drip irrigation, but they're bringing maize here.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm asking, are we overrating the instead of actually training and asking smallholder farmers to adopt to specific things? Because when you look at having attended a meeting this week, I did not see anywhere where they were talking about horticulture. It was basically things like maize, cassava, sweet potatoes, things that you don't really need drip irrigation. And that's what I'm asking.
That's another very important point. The
Yes.
kind of crops that you're
Yes.
also looking at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Crops are very
in fact, I
important.
was asking Jackie the other day, have you ever seen a cassava farmer saying that they're wasting food? Have you ever met cassava thrown? Very hard. And that's why for me I'm saying, are we giving farmers, not even farmers, are we giving Africans appetite for money by telling them plant this tomato and onions and all this, and then for you to grow this you need the drip irrigation, you need drone technology, you need mapping, you need this.
You see, part of one of the 11 pointers that the Gabon meeting is looking
Yes.
at is what you just talked about. Looking at alternatives in terms of not only alternatives in crop but also alternatives in trying to sustain
Yes.
this kind of agricultural practice, not only depending on rain-fed agriculture, but also looking at a few things that can be able to mitigate these
Climate.
issues, climate and lack of production. You see, when we have alternatives, for example, crops like sorghum. Sorghum is a very, very
Yes.
important. But talking about overrating crops like maize have been overrated too much. Some of the
For
varieties
too
that
long.
are being produced are just they cannot even survive in any even in our lands here in Kitengela.
Bogus.
Yeah.
Why you guys? I think you're trying to discourage people from technology in agriculture.
We are not really
No.
discrediting
No.
technology,
Mm.
but him maybe. on my side, I've seen the importance of technology, and by the way, we've not even discussed the kind of technology we're working on, because the technology is systematic. Yeah, anything that is used to improve or to improve either the output and how you produce. Yeah, we can easily call technology as a factor of production in quote
Yes.
unquote, because it helps us in a way. Maybe it helps us hasten how we get our produce, or it can be able to help mitigate issues that might affect the production. So now it depends with how we look at technology, what we are discussing technology now about, because there are technologies that we cannot survive without. Yeah.
Which is a fact. I'm not saying we're discouraging people from technology. What I'm just saying is, do we have to dump all these technologies to smallholder farmers?
Yes.
Can we be very specific and tell farmers, yes, there's technology, but you don't need to take it up all.
And another thing I've realized, globalization is also a factor.
Yes.
That has really made everything. We are confusing our local farmers.
Exactly.
Globalization, because
Tumana.
the Because yeah, right now everybody can go into YouTube. You go to your YouTube now. A farmer in Lokichogio, where I was I think 4 weeks ago. I'll tell you a story. We almost got kidnapped there.
What?
Yeah.
Lokichogio.
Yeah, I think I put it on my Facebook.
Oh yes, I saw. I was wondering, is it why the reason why your guests have to leave very fast?
Yeah, my guests had to leave. Anyway, now, you see, somebody right now everybody has access to the internet, which makes it a global village.
Yes.
Now, there are countries where technology has grown so far that you cannot compare technology. Like, let's just give an example of Africa. Technologically, Kenya, we are very far. I work in Senegal, where some of the technologies they look at some of the things I bring there, they're like, oh my God, we've never seen this. You see, basic things like even irrigation, it's new to them. Now, if you bring to the table ideas that are far-fetched, like, for example, bringing a drone to some farmer here in Kajiado.
In Kajiado.
I look at it as like a toy, or why, all like sensors, like, for example, like our farm in Vihiga, where we put sensors.
Yes.
We know we can use the sensors to estimate our harvest when we are harvesting. A few things
Really?
like,
Does that?
Yes.
a few things like altering, like there's a technology that we are looking at about altering, using UV, looking at the right spectrum of light to enhance growth. You see, to have 24-hour photosynthesis, because during the night the plants do not photosynthesis.
No, that one is too much.
Okay.
That one is
So
too
when
much.
now look at that kind of technology, and then you bring it to, like, for example, I come and talk to people, or local farmers. They look at me as a madman.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It puts a lot of pressure on smallholder farmers, that you find a farmer, and for me, I'm talking about basically circular economy. When you look at it in this aspect, farmers are being told to put fertilizer and all these things, soil condition and all that. But what is missing? The missing link is farmers are not being told to test their soils. So you tell a farmer, you plant, use this fertilizer, use this is the best seed variety, do this. But you're not telling them. It's like actually somebody coming and tell you, there, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. You need to use this on your hair and do this, and you do this on your skin. But there's a disclaimer. Somebody has not told you, test it in a small part first.
Yes.
So if you don't test your soil,
Maybe you have an allergy. You need to
Yes,
check if you
it
have
will
an
burn
allergy,
you.
yes, and that's why you find that you before going for an operation, you have to go through a blood test. And that blood test, sometimes they don't tell you, but they want to test what is your alcohol percentage there, so that the anesthetist knows how much alcohol whatever it is to add on you. Ukilala mpaka upone.
Sio umelala kabisa.
Or aujala uamke katikati usikie kauchumi.
That's the reason why they take me.
No, one of the things that
Sungesema hivyo.
But you see, when you talking to smallholder farmers and go and tell them, use pumice, use this, use that, farmers wanakuangalia, and then wakipata pesa kidogo, they go and try.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is this: you've told farmers, go, this onion variety will give you 30 tons if you use irrigation, and that. Mkulima nenda anapata 5 tons. They've pumped in so much. Irrigation system fails within a year, and in fact, the local irrigation systems now, if it goes beyond 1 year, uko na mungu. So someone doesn't know what to do with the drips of their block.
Of course, we have that issue in Kitengela,
Yes,
where drips are everywhere.
exactly. The drips being taken to Limuru, where they have fresh water, is the same drips being sold in Kitengela. And here you have salty soils and we have salty water. So when you talk about technology, who are you favoring?
And who are you targeting?
Exactly.
Technology also goes hand in hand with the kind of knowledge you impact a farmer.
Yes.
You can't just start talking about soil tests and the farmer doesn't even know the basic formation of soil, loam soil, clay soil, he knows.
Mchanga ni mchanga.
In fact, my land is virgin. So anakuuliza, I've never hii shamba haijatumika.
And that is why we also blame it on these companies or whoever train, maybe extension services workers. the places, like I can tell you about a place in Kaimosi where people have used fertilizers. They have used fertilizers. You know, if you can't see grass growing somewhere, you know it's bad. Until grass cannot grow.
Yes.
Somebody just showed us, no, say I can't even do anything in this land. Tell him, well, I have to use this kind of fertilizer. I was given instruction by this kind of the extension workers told us this, or a company came. So with time, if somebody doesn't understand the composition of some of these fertilizers, or the long-term effects.
You see, let me tell you about soil. The little that I've studied. It's like when a child is born. When a child is born, unaambiwa you give them formula. Tunaambiwa go downtown, tunaambiwa formula. But the other day, we got twins. And I asked madam, hey, lakini formula zini pesa mingi. Okay? So one day, I asked her, hey, why don't we try milk? No, we are told not to try milk and all that. So I sat down and asked myself, I don't think my mother ever gave me formula. I don't think my mother ever gave me formula. I've been to places where I've not even seen formula in anywhere being sold, and we have newborns. Okay? So is it something that we are just telling people do this? Take it up quickly and run with it. You know, and as you said, the world now has become a global village. There's too much information.
Yeah, too much unregulated information.
Exactly. And that because of that, then you find farmers are saying, they're being told, you know, you have to do this and this, you have to put humic acid, you have to put phosphorus and all this. But you're not telling a farmer, by the way, you can also just decide to leave your farm for 1 year.
And then let it rejuvenate.
Let it rejuvenate itself. Ni kama tu ukishafanya kazi, umefanya kazi, hata ukunywe Red Bull ngapi, lazima tu ulale, Mungu akurudishie uzingizi yako ili uanze kazi tena.
Very true.
You're very right. And see, at the end of the day, the land has to rejuvenate itself.
Yes.
Otherwise, continue doing it, you'll reach a point where
hata ukikuwa na sensa gani na mchanga ni mbaya, hautapata mboga.
Exactly. Yaki mnaongea sana leo. Sijui nani amewaleta kwa studio moja. We are talking about technology in agriculture, its importance, and who do we target when you're talking about technology? Who is it meant for when people are even designing these technologies? What are their targets? And I know Robert is an aquaponic expert. There's a video he has shared with us. Let's take a look at this kind of technology. Ndio atueleze huyo mwenye alika, the person who started and came up with that technology, what exactly was going through their mind.
I came up with that technology.
Was going through their mind when they were coming up with the technology. Because no, wewe uko na technology gani shai?
Maybe we break down the jargon.
When seedling propagation. Let's take a look at the video and then we'll get to understand exactly what it is.
But let me ask you, Dr. The sensors, how are the sensors working? Because we have so many of these things, we have different companies bringing IoT in agriculture for ag. What should a farmer look at, and what helps a farmer determine which is the right for them? Because if the farmers rely on those who are selling to determine for them,
and you know there are different types of sensors for different there are different sensors, yeah. Like wherever we use, there are some sensors that we're using, like for our water sensor, and to look at the kind of water that's good enough for quality.
Yeah, that's the
quality.
Let's
Now,
have a look.
what you're seeing right there is an aquaponic poultry system that we have designed in Bomet. Yeah, where we have chicken. You can see this chicken up there, and then we have the IBC containers where we put about IBC with those white containers called IBC containers. See there IBC Chebukati or Chembu something. So there we can see those pipes are interconnected, or they are connected with each other. Those are the exit pipes where we pull the water to a specific pump at the far end there. From the pump, the water goes up, I think there's a video that will show where the vegetables are growing. I don't know if I
Yeah.
shared it. So the cuckoos up there, you see the cuckoos are eating. So when they eat, you see some of the waste, we've regulated the kind of waste that goes down, yeah? And
There's like a filter or something.
yeah, we have a filter. And you also see under there, CRT, all the waste go, we regulate it. But we don't have any waste, yeah? So also, the waste that goes down is collected, and we sort of, I think you'll see something. You'll see where we collect all the waste where we do, what do you call, vermiculture. We also do vermiculture out of all the waste. So nothing goes to waste there. So there we.
So there's also a vermiculture inside this system.
Yeah, at the very back, we have vermiculture, where all the waste, the chicken waste is collected. The drops roll and they're collected. Just you can see in front there. You can see the blocks. Yeah, you can see a block.
How affordable is this in terms of getting to have it done the right way?
I'll say you'll have to dig deep into your pocket because there are structures. There are so many structures that need to, you need to do a construction. But what is the difference? The thing is more of the technology part, yeah? It's like you building a cow shed, but now you're putting into consideration a few things here and there. Because what we have there is this.
So it's something that somebody, when you're doing it, you do it from scratch rather than this. And can you modify what you already have?
That is why we keep on modifying every day. Okay. And from the little mistakes that we see, maybe we have a lot of waste falling into the pond. We change that where there's I think there's a picture there. If you can.
Yeah, director, kindly play the other pictures of the system.
Just where we have the IBC, you know that? Just. Okay, that's one of the sensors, yeah? When we were talking about sensors, that's one of the sensors we were looking at. So basically, the thing is like building a structure, but with that structure you modify. And you see, like these days when you're building your house, maybe you'll do, what do you call these things, like these ones behind here?
Backdrops.
It's almost the same thing that what we are doing. So those are some of the sensors that we use. Those sensors are the ones that help us determine those sensors are the ones that determine the water quality. Yeah, it helps us to determine the water quality. We can be able to look at them. We know how our fish are surviving. These are our students from the US who came to, help us in some of the modifications and some of the things that we were doing in Vihiga.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Mokio, the aquaponic system is your own invention, and now
Not
you
really.
and then now you keep.
I wish I'll take that. It is not mine. What aquaponic, you just see the concept. You know what the concept is all about. Now what you do is just to improve on it or to implement it. Yeah. Like what I came up with from aquaponics is aquaponic poultry and vermiculture, where I integrated all these. Where you have chicken, you have fish, you have worms, you have all this, all in one like you've seen, everything in one system.
Yeah.
Where you can be able to, at the end of the day, you can be able to, reap the best out of it. Because you see in the space, we've used very minimal space. You get your fish there, you get your chicken there, you get everything.
Yeah, even
so
the vegetables.
At the end of the day, you get a lot from your farm. And then the vermipods also, from that waste, we are actually planning to start selling the vermipod, the humus soil to farmers around there.
So like it's like waste, now you're selling it.
Yes, now.
And it's hot cake.
Yes. Because Bomet is actually an agricultural town. Yeah, so if you have good humus, a bag we sell at about 500 shillings. That is 40 kg bag. So maybe in a month we can be able to do almost 5 tons.
Wow.
Yeah. So just because of waste, you see the chickens are eating the waste. We having those waste. So what we do is just have a few people who a few people who we task to help us collect. We just roll the waste. Zinamwagika mahali, and then they're picked, and then what we do is just let maggots and worms do the work. In fact, I wish I had the videos somewhere where we've put maggots. We put we just put the container, we put flies. No, not flies, we put mavia ng'ombe, cow dung, right there. And then we exposed it we exposed it. So flies came, laid their
They laid
maggots.
their eggs.
So we have food for chicken there, maggots. We
From
have,
nowhere, like
yeah, food. They put a lot of waste there, so we have a lot of maggots. We have a lot of maggots. We have a lot of food for fish, and we also have food for chicken, supplementary with food for fish and for chicken, not exclusive, because we
Yeah.
cannot
it's
sustain.
like one only.
Yeah. So and then we also have from there we are doing a lot. We have to do rabbit from that one specific structure. So we have these are sensors that we actually came up with to help us. These sensors are just trying to help us monitor our projects. Yeah, that's where the technology comes in. We use sensors to monitor how fast we can be able to get how we hasten the speed at which our plants grow, or we look at how we look at the condition for our fish. For example, like if I want to know how my fish are doing, I just go into my phone and I check the
Like they have cameras. Tell us the details of the sensors.
like some of the sensors have CCTVs, yeah, where it's an app that you go, and those apps are created by some of our students.
Wow.
So they just the IT students actually just design them, implement them. So if you want to look at some of the variables like the pH levels for the water, you just check if if we realize if the ammonia level are high, they send us alarm. So if we know how to handle the high
And you can
ammonia
still
level.
handle it from your phone, like fix
No,
everything
once
from
I
your
get
phone.
it, I definitely know what to do or the instructions I'll give. If they're dangerously low, I will definitely tell somebody to go and drain the water and put fresh water.
Yeah, because most of the people, when you talk about tech in agriculture, they're like, why do I need all this? When you talk about, you need to have such like a sensor or...
You see, like, for example, like some of us are doing these things on trial basis in such a way that in future we make it so easy for people, for the farmers to actually do it. For some of us, we're doing it more so on research purposes. We want to know if we put UVB rays and we have this kind of heat, maybe UVB rays at some specific spectrum, and then the heat at specific, how fast, because it monitors how fast the plants grow.
Yeah.
So if we can have this optimum temperature and this optimum light range, if I give it like 2 weeks, how big my kale is going to be. So when we know these variables, we'll be telling people, plant your greenhouse at this specific port and this specific. You just tell farmers this is the best condition for your growth.
Wow.
Yeah, that is how actually the person who invented greenhouse came up with. He realized, if I could enclose the vegetables in this greenhouse, they release carbon monoxide, that transpiration and carbon monoxide and heat. All those variables are the ones that help the expedite growth of plants. Yeah.
Very interesting. Mwakio, do you usually sleep? Like, you just keep coming up with new inventions.
Yeah,
Like,
we have one house in the desert. You can see we've done it all the way to the desert. Yeah.
this one is a desert.
That's Lodwar.
What?
Yeah, that is.
And you're putting up the aquaponic system as well.
Yeah, we're doing it somewhere in Lodwar. It's one of our very many projects.
This one, it's still an aquaponic.
Not really an aquaponic. That is more of a vertical growth. That's when you do vertical farming, we actually try to save on space. We are saving on space. We are saving on the soil, and then we also it's actually very easy to manage. You see, when you have those bags in the greenhouse, very easy to manage individual plants.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting.
Then, our chickens are there. These chickens really eat. So they'll spend more
How many
time.
chicken can you have in such a system?
That should carry about 350 when they are big.
350.
Yes, when they're very big. We are talking about because we are looking at the waste output. The waste.
Okay.
You can have a number that is not manageable, and if you have some that are so manageable, it will destroy the whole system. So we are the number of chicken there dictates the number of all fish we have there, because most of the waste actually feed the fish.
The fish, yeah.
And then it cuts down so much on
Expenses.
the expenses in terms of buying feed.
So with this system, you have to start from up, going down. Whatever. No, when you're putting when you're putting the things you need.
We started with the structure. No, it's actually very independent. So long as you have the dimension. Because when I design these things, I use there's a software I normally use to design. I have a background in urban planning, it's part of architecture. So it helps me use some of these skills I have in designing. So we design. After designing, because you see it has to fit in there. You see how they are fitting. They have to fit, and the way they are, the pipes, everything has to be there to the nearest decimal point. If you mess something, it won't work.
It won't work.
So that is how we have the aquaponics system. We have the chicken on top, fish in those containers, vegetables. They're very far. When you see the green pipes at the back there, those are the outlets that go to bring the water and the pumice. And then the pumice drains back to the water to the pond.
This one I've seen you're using just the normal soil.
No, that is pumice.
It's pumice?
Yeah, but it's actually fine pumice. Yeah, I prefer the fine pumice. These days, there are people who actually even refine them. You can go and get it when it's a bit refined.
Wow, very interesting. I hope our viewers are learning a thing or two from today's show. We've not taken a breather since we started. Like the team I'm having today is just on fire. We have to take a short, quick breather. We'll be right back after we pay some bills. See you soon.
Majina ni Emmanuel Lelei ama Olelei Lelei kwenye Facebook. Mimi nashughulika na drip installation, na hiyo ndio kazi ambayo tunaifanya. Kwanza kabisa ningependa kuwashukuru African Farmers Club kwa huu wakati ambao wameweza kunialika katika ofisi yao. Ningependa kusema ya kwamba venye nimeweza kualikwa mahali hapa, mimi ningesema ya kwamba itakuwa ni ushirikiano ulio mwema baina ya drip irrigation, tips hub na Africa Farmers Club. Nimekuwa nafanya hii kazi kwa muda mrefu. So far niko na 6 years kwa mambo na installation of drip, na kazi yenyewe ni nzuri, naipenda. Kitu ambacho ningependa kuwahimiza wananchi, hakuna mtu unaweza ukafanya kitu kama hujaweza kuipenda mwenyewe. So mimi napenda kazi yangu, kazi ambayo naifanya naipenda, na ndio sababu nimeweza kutilia maanani ama nimeweza kuweka kigongo kwenye kazi ambayo naweza kuifanya ya drip installation. So kazi yetu tunaifanya, na leo nimeweza kupata hii nafasi ya kuweza kuwa pamoja na African Farmers Club. So ukitaka kunipata kwenye mtandao Facebook, utanipata kama Olelei Emmanuel, ama unipate na Olelei drip irrigation tips hub. Kwa Gmail utanipata emmanuel.lei@gmail.com, na kwenye YouTube bado utanipata kama irrigation tips hub. Nambari yangu ya simu kwa wale ambao wanaweza kuwa wanauliza, nambari ya simu ni 0720041484. Ningependa kabisa nikaweza kuonyesha emitter ni nini na kazi yake na umuhimu wake pia ni nini. Unapoitazama hapa kuna drip line, na utaona kuna, ukiangalia kwenye sehemu ya juu kuna sehemu moja iko na hizo shimo ambayo inatoa maji, hiyo tunaita emitters. So maji, wakati wote maji inatokea kwenye hizo emitters, na hiyo emitter ikiweza kuwa uchafu ikiweza kuingia humo ndani haiwezi kutoa hiyo maji. So emitters ni kitu muhimu sana kwa drip line, maana hiyo ndio ina release maji iweza kuenda kwa mmea. So ningependa kueleza tu kwamba mtaweza kujua wakati unafanya installation ya drip, kama wameinstall shamba yako, make sure unaangalia kila wakati hizo emitters kama zimeangalia juu ama zimeangalia chini. Zikiangalia chini, hapo in the bottom yake kuna kwa na chances ya uchafu. Wakati uko na uchafu kwa tank, ipite kwa filter, ikifika pale itaweza kublock hizo shimo na zitaweza kutoa maji. Number 2, wakati tunafanya installation hapa kuna aina moja ya starter connectors, na ambayo sio starter connectors, hii tunaita min valve, ambayo ina uwezo unaweza ukaifunga mwenyewe ama ukaweza kuifungua kama unavyoona kuna maji yanatoka, na kuna ambayo ni direct starter connectors. So hii ni mojawapo ya mkulima mwenye anaanza anaweza akatumia kitu kama hii, maana anaweza akacontrol ama ako na maji kidogo, unaweza ukacontrol wakati umefanya installation yako, unaweza ukacontrol hii maji, maana hii itakuwa na kazi kubwa.
There are several incredible ideas through which one can establish a simple, space and water efficient kitchen garden using locally available materials. They include the cone garden, the multi-story garden, the micro garden, tire garden, moist bed garden, the wick irrigation garden, and the simple drip irrigation garden. In this video, we will take a look at how you can establish a moist bed garden. A moist bed garden is a crop production technology designed to provide optimum soil moisture conditions in a small production area. The bed is lined with polythene paper to conserve water and to protect the plants from contaminated soil around the area. There are two types of moist bed gardens: the raised moist bed garden and the sunken moist bed garden. A sunken moist bed garden is suitable for root crops such as arrowroots that require a lot of water, while a raised moist bed garden is suitable for vegetables. To construct the moist bed garden, the materials required include a polythene bag, binding wire, 3-foot-long fittles, soil mixed with manure at a ratio of 1:1, a wheelbarrow, hardcore, dry grass or kitchen waste such as vegetable peels, a pliers, a scissors, tape measure, watering can, water, shovel, and seedlings.
Today, we are going to learn how to construct a raised moist bed. We need to select our site, and the site where we are doing construction must not be under shade. After selecting site, we need to take the measurements, and the raised moist bed need not to be more than 1.2 meters wide. So we will take measurements on the ground as we put the pegs there. So our moist bed is going to be 1.2 meters wide. After measuring the width of the bed, we now take the measurements of the length, and we are just going to do a bed of 1 meter wide. And now in between, we put pegs where we are going to put our fittles. Our poles are 3 feet, but 1 foot is supposed to be hit inside. Now our framework for the raised moist bed is ready. So our next step is to measure the polythene that we are going to use for lining. This is what holds the materials for planting, and the polythene should not have any hole to release water. Because our bed, we are using a polythene tube of gauge 1000, and because our bed is only 1 meter long, we leave an allowance 1 extra meter to be able to fold at each end. So we measure 2 meters because our bed is 1 meter long. Then you cut your polythene using a scissor or a knife, depending on what you have. Once you have cut it, then you open up your polythene tube to make 1 large sheet. We now go into laying the polythene. You cut the binding wire for securing the polythene on the framework. Because we have a total of 10 poles, we need a total of 10 pieces of binding wire. You make sure that your polythene is well lined, well shaped. You fold your wire inside to avoid any accidents. Now our framework is ready. We have already put the polythene lining, and the next step is to put the hardcore. We use hardcore on the lower end for in case there is excess water. That is where the excess water drains to. So we are going to start with the bigger stones, and then we put the smaller ones at the top as we fill it to 30 centimeters or 1 foot. So you place your stones carefully, taking care not to puncture the polythene. After filling in to 1 foot, we are now ready to go to the next layer. And the next layer, we are going to put dry grass. And apart from dry grass, you can put in any kitchen waste like vegetable cuttings, fruit peels can be added into this layer. Even dry weeds that can be of benefit to the crop that we are going to plant. The purpose of this dry grass is to form a barrier between the soil that we are going to add for planting, so that it is not eroded down into the rocks which we have laid underneath. And you put the dry grass to a layer of about 10 centimeters. is now ready, and we are ready for the next step, which is adding in our soil mixed with manure at a ratio of 1:1. That is going to be our planting media. The reason why we do soil depth of 20 to 30 centimeters is because most of the vegetables we plant in the moist bed have that root depth. We make sure that soil goes into every corner and there's no space left that may cause water loss when we are doing irrigation. Our raised moist bed is ready. As you can see, we have filled up the soil. What we now need to do is to water it thoroughly and let it set until the following day is when we do the planting. The reason we leave it overnight is because this is not a natural ground. Remember, the soil has been added on top of a layer of hardcore and dry grass. So the soil needs to settle so that when we plant, the level will not go down. If we plant immediately, the level might go down, but we need to leave it overnight after watering, then we plant the following day.
Our appeal to the viewers that may be watching this is, see something and implement. This is how we collectively contribute to food and nutrition security when each and every household is able to produce safe food within the confines of their homes.
From this tutorial, it is our hope that you will establish your own kitchen garden and enjoy a constant supply of fresh, nutritious vegetables, fruits and spices for you and your family. In case you need more information, kindly log on to www.kilimo.go.ke.
Yeah, and welcome back. And today we are just talking about matters to do with technology in agriculture. We've shown you some of the not so difficult technologies and the easy ones. Makio, have you ever done the moist kitchen garden? Or you've never used soil?
No, I have a small kitchen garden. I just play around with so many things. Whatever I have.
Why do you prefer using those other like pumice and not soil?
I try to come up with alternative agriculture practices because we're looking at what if one day you don't have soil, for example, or what if this situation doesn't enable us plant, maybe we have a lot of toxins in the soil. So I come up with as much experiment things that I do on my own to see how good they can work, like for planting on soil or water, floating on water, etc., depending on what I can
be able to do.
Like there's so many technologies available in the market. We've seen about the vertical gardens, the aquaponics. You've seen vermiculture, but just like Noise was trying to mention, probably the information that comes out probably is not the well tuned to the person it's targeting. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that definitely I would agree, because like we were discussing with him, it's a lot of advancement. Like there's a lot of information these days. On as long as you have your smartphone, you have access to the whole world. All information right now is there at your fingertips. No, the thing is now to regulate it, because there are people who just see a new technology or something new, they want to do it. Remember the quail issue, when everybody was rushing to quail without doing due diligence, without just trying to understand is it workable. So people want to do something, they're rushing to something without doing due diligence, without even doing a lot of research about it, and at the end of the day it becomes a failure because everybody wants to rush. It reminded me of this. I don't know if you've seen those Facebook of those. They're called natives. Those young two people. They just go to the bush and then they start building. They build like swimming pool. Build very nice things, even houses. Out of mud. When you watch those videos, you're really impressed. You say, "This is they look simple," but what they came to realize, these people have been staging all those videos. So most of these things that we see online are not as you think they are, because the internet is also not very accurate. Some of the information out here are not like you think they are. So many things are false. So before people just rush into technology, or this is what I've seen, you have to look at, does it work? Can it be able to be implemented on the ground?
And how sustainable is it?
Sustainable, and is it economical in the first place? You just look at, if I do this, for example, I'm not going to talk about irrigation because irrigation is very vital. I was telling him irrigation is quite vital, and I pinned him down when I asked him if he has how does he sustain his farm. Yeah, so a few things like irrigation, I won't talk about it. What can I be able, I'm trying to see something I can be able to use as an example. You look at the kind of system we are doing. Let's say, for example, vertical farming, as an example, because I deal with a lot of vertical farming. To me, it's an advantage because of somebody who doesn't have space. But why should a farmer who has a lot of space go for vertical farming? Some of these technological advancements are meant to curb things related to maybe urbanization, where space is a factor. That's why sustainable agriculture looks at a few things like space and environment, most particularly environment, and how you can be able to make good use of the environment. But as we progress in life, space becomes a factor. So a farmer, let's say a farmer in Kajiado has acres and acres of land. You ask him, why should he use vertical farming? Vertical farming is basically meant for urban areas. Somebody who has somebody living next to the lake, why should you have aquaponics? And you have the lake.
And the lake is just there.
Unless you just want to use it as a training ground. But if you have, like for example, we did an aquaponic in the deserts of Senegal. Place called Niani. It's in actually Sahara, one of Sahara desert. So we did this thing and did so well. The best thing about that, we don't have quite, like people might think it's too hot or not, because of lots of wind, the evaporation rate is quite low. So in such a situation, we are able to harness, to rechannel the water. And as the water moves, it's not exposed to a lot of evaporation. So by that movement, we lessen the evaporation rate. Now, look at a situation where a place like a desert in Senegal, aquaponic is quite fit for it because we are able to use water because we are able to control the water that we use. We don't waste water because it's recycled, and we don't use much of the water due to evaporation because of that constant movement. But if you look at somebody who lives next to a water source,
there's no need of an aquaponic.
you should do. Some of these technologies are just meant to look at, should we have or how can we be able to sustain ourselves in a situation where we do not have land, or maybe issues such as global climate change has impacted the way we grow our plants. That's when we can diverge into irrigation methods. But now, I wouldn't be surprised for somebody to start using, things like drones are very good for large scale farmers, somebody who has acreage of land and who wants to monitor and make sure that everything goes on as planned. But now for a farmer who's always there, by the time you're buying that drone, you've made so many people jobless, especially for a place like Africa where we have lots of labor. So, and then with technology like robotics, when we have robotics, what we're basically doing is just killing the job market. Africa is robust with young, energetic labor. So if we replace it with technology, we have those people end up not having jobs. Like, for example, in which country is this that they do a lot of, is it Ethiopia or there's somewhere that they do a lot of oranges, like Egypt, but they've replaced with robotics. When I talk about robotics, I'm not talking about that machine that does it's not like even fruit picking machines are robots. That's part of AI technology.
What?
Yeah, that's part of AI technology. So
why would someone do such a thing on their farm? Because at the end of the day, you still need human labor.
Yeah, you need human labor, but now, like my brother was saying, will help us from the flood. Like he was saying, it reaches a point when your stomach is more important than any other thing around you. So when you have the robots that are able to pick fruits, let's say 10 to 50 times faster than one person. So in probably 1 to 5, so per 1 hour you'll be replacing about 500 people. Wow. If you look at that math. So one machine can be able to do work of 50 people in 1 hour. So why should you employ people? And people also prone to getting tired, so they won't work constantly. So that is where you're looking at a serious capitalist. And that is where we are heading to as a nation and as a continent, where we have robust population that can give us labor. And actually cheap labor. Africa is known for cheap labor. But at the end of the day, now people want to invest. People have much money they want to invest in automated technology in farming for the simple reason of making a lot out of it. I'm not saying technology is bad, but also look at the circumstances.
It also has benefits.
Yeah, because other technologies like the ones that mitigate climate change, like irrigation being one of it, it's inevitable. Or flood control measures. If we have flood control, we are able to check how floods are by coming up with automated dikes. Those automated dikes that when water reaches a certain level, it opens up. So such things, such small things are the ones are very important, especially when it comes to technology. And then another thing, like I know I have people are following this on Facebook. If you want to survive in the world of 21st century, first thing you do is look at a problem and try to go find a solution to that problem before you monetize that issue. The only way you can become a billionaire in this world is just getting a solution to a problem.
Exactly. Now, like you said, there are many people who are following us. Probably they're interested in embracing technology on their farms. Talk of the policies, like the sensor motion you are installing in Vihiga. How does someone go about putting up such technology on their farm when it comes to matters policy, and also with the surrounding environment? Let's say if you're having a drone, do you need to sensitize the people that, by the way, there will be some machine that will be making some noise at the farm? How should farmers go about it?
First of all, when we talk of policy, we look at things like drones that are being regulated by the government of Kenya, because it falls under Kenya Airports Authority. it's regulated because it uses airspace. So the Kenya Airports Authority or something, one of the authorities that regulates airspace. So you have to get a specific license to operate a drone. Other things like robotics, I don't think we have much regulation about use of robotics or sensors. But, you know, like for example,
Do you have pictures of the robotics?
yeah, probably if I look at my,
Yeah, we'll share in our name.
Yeah, so some of the robotics or some of the things. There's one of the pictures we could see some of our students are working. Those are AI sensors. Some of the AI sensors, the robotics, like I said, not like the machine.
Yeah,
the
elevation.
robotics are just used to, like one of them is inside our greenhouse. I don't know if it's still functioning. I think one of our technicians is working on it because it's one of the newest technologies. Kenya is the second place where it's actually being. The pilot was in, I think, Oman, either Oman or Jordan, and the next one is in our farm in India. So it's still under trial. What it does, it's a robotic and AI system that tries to regulate. Like I told you, it looks at different variables like light. It looks at light intensity, the light ranges. Basically optimum temperatures and everything that is perfect for photosynthesis, transpiration, and whatnot. All those issues taken into consideration to see how a plant grows fast. The kind of chemicals that the roots will take to hasten growth, the macro and the micronutrients. So it encompasses everything in the air, so that we can be able to have our plants grow very fast. So that in such, you see, that is artificial intelligence, in that we're not doing like we're altering how the plants grow, but we are looking at the conditions favoring fast growth of plant. For example, say when we decide if you have a child, we notice that we give him this specific nutrient. Yeah? If we give him high protein, 25% protein, 8% fat, this thing, vis-a-vis a child who eats githeri every day, you'll see your child will grow faster. So those are what we're trying to do. We're not altering how our plant grows. We're trying to just enhance the plant growth. So that's how some of these robotics work. So at the end of the day, once we establish the variables, these machines are actually able to sense the variables so that it controls, it regulates the greenhouse, be it the light system. If it is UV, you see it changing the light maybe to...
Like automatically?
Yeah. Yeah, so those are very, very detailed technology. It's very hard for us now to go and we had, I think I'll share some pictures. We had a sensitization program with the people in the India. We had a meeting, we talked to them, though, I don't know why we have a problem as Africans just looking at today, not tomorrow. So we actually told them, it's for your children. Some of this technology, you might think it's a joke, but probably 20 years from now, you'll say, hey, we saw this thing being done here, we didn't know it's going to be a big thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And probably there are smallholder farmers who are interested. Like right now, they're smallholder farmers, and tomorrow they'll be large scale. Can smallholder farmers also make use of these forms of technologies, and what technologies can you advise them to maybe tap into?
Yeah, because first of all, like a smallholder farmer, to embrace some of these technologies, first of all, you have to look at the cost implication. You don't need to get into something that you don't have enough resources for. But now, if you have, like I told you, a small researcher like me, I have a small kitchen garden, and to see if I bring this, does it grow fast, or if I throw this kind of waste, or sometimes I realize my dogs leave a lot of poop around the compound. So if I train them to just leave their knees one specific place, so that I just come and pour a few things here and there. I pour ash. I pour this and this, and I came up with compost on my own, and then I start growing. That doesn't need a lot of funds. It just needs a lot of research on your own. So for a small scale farmer, the only thing I can tell them is simple. If you feel like it's something that you can't, that will be costly to your pocket, there's no point of going through it. The best thing you do, we have videos called DIYs, do it yourself, where you can go to YouTube and see how people use very small things like tires. Use your tire as a way of farming. Just get tires, put tire there, plant like 4 or 5, which I teach my children to do at the
CBC.
CBC, yeah. You see, that is the same CBC. These kids very soon, when I'm telling you, once they reach about in their 17, 18, the guys who are in CBC right now, these are the guys who will be doing YouTube do it yourself.
What?
I tell you, I've seen some of my son has a YouTube channel.
Already? How old is he?
He's turning 12. So imagine I'm looking at him maybe at 18, probably he'll be doing this DIYs, do it yourself, how to use those containers in the house. You've thrown your container, you'll see somebody using something very spectacular. And such videos become sensational,
Yeah.
They have very many likes, very many views. So at the end of the day, really, technology is just, when you talk of technology, you're not looking at something that is so out of this world.
Yeah, when technology, even me, when I just hear of technology, like when you're saying robotics, I'm just imagining it's just the thing.
Yeah, it is just, basically it's just how...
It's the terms that are used.
The terms. But technology can be how you can, something used to enhance, use the help of something better to enhance production. That's the technology aspect of it. And then another thing that I always tell my students is that the world has moved in different phases. We started with we had that period where we had the hominids that were roaming around the world, and then we had the Homo habilis, and then the Homo erectus. The ones that started using tools, basic tools, and then they discovered fire. It's part of evolution that Noah does not it does not relate to. Now it reached a point where we reached agrarian revolution. Agrarian revolution is that period when the world was depending so much on agriculture. Everything was all agriculture based. Economies were run through agriculture. So from agrarian revolution came industrial revolution. They wanted that expertise, from how can we be able to monitorize this? That's why the company industries came up, packaging industries, harvesting, cotton picking industries. That is the industrial revolution. After that, we came into the computer age. That's the computer age. Actually, we're talking about the technological revolution where everything is becoming robotic. That is where we have the AI. Your phone is an AI system, artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's part of AI. It's part of artificial intelligence. So that is what, for a farmer to look at this and say, hey, this is, we talk of AI, kitu ingine. You have it everywhere around you. Squeeze when you go into your matatu. If you go to the matatu, you see screens.
Yeah.
They are automated. You pay using M-Pesa. That is automation. And it all go to the bank. Do that transaction. That's AI. So at the end of the day, we just have to realize that it is there to stay. And like I told Noah, it's inevitable. It is there. We'll have to embrace it. It's part of our evolution. And it's us to, as much as we've destroyed the environment, we've destroyed the environment around us. Now it is us to adapt to the environment of how we've destroyed it. And that is how humans has managed to survive all this. That's how Homo sapiens have managed to survive all through evolution, because we are able to survive through the ice age, or through very harsh climatic situations. So at the end of every minute we sleep thinking of how I can better myself. What can I do? So sometimes it's very wrong for somebody not to think about tomorrow. Itafanya nini kesho? Iko na hii shamba, or here somebody has a farm, but nothing is done on that farm. Yeah, so.
What are your thoughts about gender and technology? Because most women are still shying away from embracing technology. Is it that it's too difficult, or they have lack of awareness, or they're just scared?
Stigma, I think that's, and that it's not, I can't, okay, not stigma, but it's imenipotea, when you generalize something, when the society has made us believe, women cannot do this, or it's just a perception. Perception. I don't think gender has anything to do with.
Then why are most women not embracing? How many of your students are ladies?
You've seen the so.
There are few. There are few.
Yeah, we have. Okay, we can't talk about developed world because gender things a thing of the past. Everybody, there's not equality. Probably when we look at Kenya, then we can be able to see it's all about the perception and also the when you talk about person by themselves. There are those girls who just brush things and say, this me I can't do it because I'm a girl. So it all rallies down to an individual person. But at the end of the day, what technology has no gender disparity, because any person can. It's not gender based. Like if we start operating a drone or we have our sensors, it has nothing to do. It's only that embracing it. Is it the female farmer who will embrace it or the male farmers? But if we do our statistics in the farm, maybe we can ask the Ministry of Agriculture next time to do our statistics for us. How many farmers embrace technology? It's basically something like irrigation. How many? First of all, how many even female farmers are here? Maybe in Kajiado. How many female farmers are there? How many have greenhouses? How many? So if you get data, then we can be able also to now go and ask ourselves, are women embracing technology more than men? But what I can tell you from my observation of after traversing the whole continent, I'm realizing women are more adaptive to technology compared to men. Women are very volatile. They are ready to embrace. They can make a step. Most of the clients who've had for aquaponics are female.
Wow.
Yeah, are women who just, most of them are working class women with college education. The ones who can step and make that bold step, because those are risk takers. Some of these technological advancements also are risky.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, hey, okay, let me try this, but have you tried this before? So most men will be like, jaribu mahali, nimefanya.
Iko wapi nione kwanza and confirm.
But a woman who's put up her heart to do it because she knows she will fight to the end until it succeeds. That is how I've seen women embracing some of these technologies like aquaponics, and which is very encouraging, because the more we have more people embracing such technologies, the more we can be able to, because some of these things we are using as demo.
Yeah.
We did one in Eldoret, an aquaponic system in Eldoret, which right now is being used as a training center for more university.
Wow.
And it was a lady who made that bold move.
So they're training from their farm, from her farm.
Yeah, from the farm.
Wow, that is very nice. We've had a very lovely discussion talking about matters to do with technologies in agriculture. And Mwakio today, Dr. Mwakio has tried to break it down for us. But with matters technology, I like having the pictures or videos so that when you say sense a motion, I can see it sensing. You need, when you go to this training, you'll be taking us with you.
Yeah,
So don't be selfish. Don't be selfish.
Next time you go with us to load oil, you'll see a KO-47 with young children carrying guns and and very harsh. Sometimes we go through very harsh climatic. Yeah, I mean the places we go are very harsh. For example, some of these things that we are doing are funded by non-governmentals. there are some of these non-governmental actually are trying, like for example, like Lodwar, we're doing this so that to help the people around there, so that they can embrace alternative technologies. Yeah. So once they learn from us, they can be able. Once we do like demos or we do point of learning for them, they can be able to replicate in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we usually have a quiz question every evening, and today we are asking, can technology in agriculture accelerate the fight against climate change? What are your thoughts on that?
Am I supposed even to answer? Am I supposed to answer such an easy, I mean, an
Like
obvious
easy,
question?
obvious, how?
Because right
How?
now we are fighting climate change using technology. If I can go deep, there's a technology being developed in China where they are creating rain clouds, so that in cases we don't have rain, they just send a drone that just mixes some chemical and rains.
You're not
Yeah,
serious.
that's now if you want to go deep into
A
technology.
rain
that's
cloud.
technology. And then there's one by Bill Gates. We are talking about trying to heal or trying to curb greenhouse emission gases by sending a plane with a specific content of chemicals at the lithosphere. So it just goes and pours that mitigates the problem of the greenhouse gas effect. We have somebody called Elon Musk, who's a madman, who's coming up, who's thinking about setting up a base station on the moon, and moving to Mars. Probably he was talking about by 2030, we'll have Mars. So there's a lot of, but there, as we speak, I think one of my friends is a researcher in the USDA. They were called by another organization where they're supposed to come up with just the same technology we're talking about, this AI technology, so that they want to go and test it in the International Space Station to see if they can be able to grow plants in space, so that they can be able to do it when they send man to moon in 2025. They'll be sending man to the moon 2025. You see now, that's when we're getting into the space age era. So when you're still talking about Kulima, there are countries that are really serious about technology.
Why would someone think of going to plant in Mars?
Because them, they're looking at now.
Have they even been to Mars?
They're looking at now after this, yeah. They're looking at the way we are looking at our world. These people are looking at 20, 30, 40,000 will have destroyed our Earth. Where is an alternative place where human beings can survive?
Yeah.
So somebody like Elon Musk has all the money it takes. So what he's doing is just preparing a team to send them to Mars and start a colony there. And that's also, if you have a colony on the moon, you're talking about riches. That's how they colonized Africa.
Wow.
Go and start just to benefit you. Because as I'm told, China wants to send robotics to the moon to start mining, just mining, bringing these chemical elements, bring them to the planet.
How they'll do that, we don't know.
Yeah, so technology is basically out there to enrich human beings. We are a very selfish creature. We're very selfish. We think about ourselves. So even if we colonize everything, or like whatever China is doing, having artificial rain, it's all for the sake of self-benefit. And that is why I'm telling you, human beings will alter the environment to survive. We won't let that. We won't live according to what the environment. We go around how to survive with the environment the way it is. Yeah, that's what makes Homo sapiens sapiens.
Wow. Now this is science. You've really gotten into science.
Yeah.
Like even the topic about this, we've not even touched on anything it matters technology. We need like a whole day.
Yeah. You just scratched the surface.
We've just yeah. So this is just the beginning. We'll be having more shows. We'll be having Dr. Robert Mwakio coming through with more of the information. We have our segment, by the way, on Ask the Experts, strictly for the experts, where you give out all the information and you get challenged with the other experts on what you think. Because why would you even form a rain cloud? And we have clouds already. Am I trying to be God or Jesus?
Or they cleared, I don't know which is it, the Beijing, doing Beijing, it was Beijing Olympics, where they altered the weather. I think it was going to rain. They removed the rain clouds. That's all. Those people are, if you talk of China, they are advanced. I tell you, they are advanced. So imagine having such a technology and bringing it to place like Lodwar or Moyale.
By the way,
having
even
rain
here in
displays.
Kajiado, because it
Yeah.
has not been raining
So maybe,
for quite some time.
These guys can do it now. Let's look at it in probably 20, 30 years from now. And then, necessity is a mother of invention. Well, why do you think HIV has been there for all these years, but nobody was taking a keen interest on getting a cure? Corona just came, 2 years, 3 years. It's actually being eradicated, pole. Probably in 2025, not even hear a case of corona. A very dangerous disease. But HIV is still,
It's still there.
nobody cares much about it. So those are the things that technology goes one in one with necessity. See, if you're desperate, you can do anything to it. Yeah. So when it reaches a point in time when, let's say, we have a very advanced climate, that is when we'll start realizing, hey, what can we do as human beings?
We actually need scientists like you who are thinking ahead of us, so that when we get there, when we get to that situation, I just call you, Mwakio, hakuna mvua, si mtusaidie ile rain cloud yenu.
Can imagine, but I think like 100 years from now we can be having that much. You just send a drone.
God will punish you people. God will punish you.
That is what humans
Ati kuna ice, si msaidie ile jua.
you don't want to have
Ama it's called in your area, unasikia neighbor amenoka. Maze leo kuna baridi, simsaidie kale kajua.
Imagine. We are hitting that. Someone was saying we are using just a small fraction of our brains. So as we evolve, as we continue to evolve, you can imagine what we can be able to do with the technology that we have. We haven't even discovered the whole periodic table. None of your periodic table discovered. So imagine once we have those smart kids who come and start thinking aloud. Like you ask yourself, like in the 60s and during the Cold War, there were a lot of inventions out there. In the 90s, ilienda chini kabisa, 90s, 2000s, and then now technology has started, inventions and whatnot. So it also looks, generation also we look at generations that come and inquisitiveness and how people can be able to, change the situation.
As we come to a close, Mokio, like you said, I didn't even know, mentioned, there's a lot of information out there, and most of the farmers are getting confused. Unambiwa, this one can work for you, this one is good for you. What is your advice to many farmers who probably want to embrace technology, but they don't know where to get this information?
The internet internet can be good, the internet can be very bad. Especially those people who wake up with a headache and then you go and start checking what is this symptom of this headache, and then you're told you have brain tumor. That is how bad the internet is. You start saying, why is my soil not doing this? So the best thing is, as much as you have the internet, ask the experts. The experts are there for free. These guys, the extension services from extension services, we have groups, farming groups online. Just go and ask a question in those farming groups. The internet, where you find some forums where people just want to build in traffic so they have to make money. So they have lots of fake information. You'd rather, what I normally even advise farmers, visit farms that are doing well. There are very many in this country. If you want to learn about pig farming, go online, search for pig farmers. Go make an attempt, even if you were charged 500 Kenya shillings, or you are told to do this, or you are told, donate, or you are told, you have to travel like 50 kilometers. You'd rather travel those kilometers to learn, instead of you coming up investing in something that you end up flopping.
Exactly.
So it's good to do, and then read. People no longer read. Remember today you told me I have all this information. I tell you most of the time when I'm free, you just find me just going through journals out there. Sometimes I think you follow me on Facebook.
Yeah.
When I can read a few things I see, it's very interesting. I'll sit down and do a research, go to different books in Amazon, look at this, and then I just write a small article. At the end of the day, you gain much information, and having information on your own is not very valuable, because you're meant to have information to share it.
To share it, yeah.
So you'd rather read, do a lot of reading. Kwenda tu kuanza kuangalia Azimio or whatnot. It's not putting food on your table.
Exactly.
Go and look at success in agriculture, or in your field, if you're a coffee farmer, or if you're a mango farmer, or if you're a cassava farmer, or if you're trying to encourage farmers to do those indigenous crops like sorghum. I'm advocating so much for people to go back to sorghum farming.
Sorghum, you need to have a large farm.
Yeah, by at least. Yeah, like sorghum. It's part of things that we need to go back to.
Yeah.
Those famine-free plants, vegetables, or the ones that we can be able, especially easy local vegetables.
Indigenous.
There's a professor that we are working from Kaimosi University. We are doing a research on indigenous vegetables and empowering women. So probably we'll discuss, and maybe we'll call one of these fine days. We have that discussion on TV here.
Yeah.
Because it's a very important research we are doing.
It's on saving the seeds, Ama. It's on.
No, we're trying to encourage women to do indigenous vegetables.
Because yesterday I had a show with some ladies, and they're doing value addition of the indigenous vegetables, but they're trying to encourage women to plant the original seeds, not these improved ones. The original ones. You know, when you cook saga and the manago and the terere, they usually have that smell, but the improved seeds don't have the smell, and they grow very fast. Even the taste is not the same.
Yeah, it's not, because you alter the genetics. That's the most annoying part. Like what this lady is researching on is some specific kind of vegetables that can be used as pesticide and anti-mosquito repellent. The actual mosquito repellents.
Okay.
But if they embrace it so much, if the ladies in the area can embrace it, the plant can be able to use it not only as vegetables, it can also be use it to act as repellents.
As repellents. Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you so much, Robert Mwakio, for making time. I feel we've not exhausted this discussion, because even when you talk about technology, I only think about those machines. But now today you've just you've touched the ice
because
at the top.
We look at
we've narrowed our minds.
Yeah, we centrifugal way of looking at things as technology, as in Massimo and whatnot. Technology is wide, big wide, and we were actually on the surface of it. Because if we go deep, that's why I've talked about AI, I've talked about irrigation. Even alternative farming is just like crop rotation. It's part of technology, that the unknown type of technology. Because it's just a deviation from the norm. Or we're just trying to improve something. That's technology. The crop rotation, intercropping, miscropping, building like dikes, all those are alternative farming. And like I was saying, it is one of the things that are being discussed today in Gabon on alternative ways of curbing climate change.
Yeah. Well, that has been the evening drive. If you have any questions for Robert, post on our Facebook page, post on his Facebook page at Robert Mwakio, right?
Yeah, I'm actually live. My page is live also.
Yeah, so probably where can you be found as well if someone wants expertise from your end?
Google Robert Mwakio. All my details will come out, yeah? Robert Mwakio Instagram, Robert Mwakio Facebook, Robert Mwakio YouTube. I have very many YouTube videos which we've done a lot of technology across the world. Just Robert Mwakio. Even the articles we've been writing. I've written many more articles. I won't say them because they're not paying you guys. So if you look at it, I'm also a writer in one of the agricultural magazines. So very, very detailed, very rich information in there on agriculture and technology also.
So as you've heard, he's always available when you call him, but at night he's not available. It's only during the day, because at night his mind is thinking of what he's going to invent tomorrow. I'm sending people to Mars. So we've not exhausted this topic. I think we'll just have a day where we'll be setting to just talk about technology, science and technology. And that one I'll need to go back to school, because me with science,
But it's there in CBC right now. So science and technology.
It's there.
I remember I was in my science Paris Day last weekend, and they're doing so many. They were actually doing things like the skeletal system. You ask yourself, why do kids in class 5 do skeletal, the muscular system? Okay.
Yeah, so this conversation can never end. Keep tweeting, keep texting us, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Furahi Day, so it's a free flow Friday. We'll be seeing you as we talk more topics and delve deeper into matters to do with agriculture. But for now, we need to say goodbye. Makia?
Goodbye.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.